I promised I would be back with haul. So we're back with haul. Let's see, let's tilt down a little. Please don't mind the ring light reflection in my glasses. It's kind of a necessary evil because it's the way that you see the truest colors that I can show you. So I know I appreciate that in video, so just ignore this. So I also have to be able to see. So we're going to start off with a little bit of a story as to why Emily was stress buying stitching stuff. A couple of weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago at this point, well, we can wind back even further and say that over the past few months, I've been hearing some noises in our crawl space. Some scratching, some digging around, some concerning sounds. You tend to ignore things for a while as a homeowner. You shouldn't, but you do. So one night I was here by myself. Jim was of course at his brother's, and I heard quite the ruckus and the commotion in the crawl space, like something fighting with something else or struggling. It was notable. Got mine and Buster's attention. I didn't think any more of it. After that, I did tell Jim about it, but then maybe about almost a week later, we started smelling it. The smell got worse. The smell got worse. Jim and I crawl under the house. I'm like, you know what? Whatever it is, we haven't heard it again. It's obviously dead. It can't hurt us if it's dead. Let's just get up under the house. We'll put on some gloves, you know, get a garbage bag, flashlight, and we'll just take care of business. So we get up under there, and it's done some damage to the ductwork under the house. So we're like, okay, well that's gonna have to get fixed. So then we're thinking it could be, because we crawl around and can't find it, and we're thinking it must be in a duct because it's obviously chewed into them. So we know it's something big based on what it's left behind. It's poop, for lack of a better way to say it. So we're crawling around and it's gross, and Jim is like lifting ductwork, trying to figure out if like there's a spot that's heavy where he can get it out and we can take care of our issue. He lifts, at this point he's like, I've got this, you go back towards the entrance to the crawl space and just shine the light and I'll figure out where it is. He lifts this one piece of ductwork, and his reaction was something I wish I had filmed, because whatever's in there isn't dead, and he feels it, all four of its legs on his like hand or near his hand, and he was like, that's how he really knew it was something big, because he could feel the weight of it and he could feel it run and like lurch off of his hand. So Jim's screaming and trying to get out of the crawl space, and I'm like, I got your back, I got your back. We put a cage in there, and we don't catch anything. Smell's getting worse. So we end up calling our exterminator, and they come in and they're digging around, and they believe that they have found a mother possum, they said one of the largest mother possums they've ever seen, and her litter, deceased. So they cut the duct on each side and they pull it together, and they're pulling it out of the crawl space. And would you believe Mother Possum was playing possum? Because she was not dead. The babies were dead, unfortunately. Mother Possum was not dead. So you would think exterminators would expect a possum to play possum. but they didn't. So when she sprung to life, she got away from them. And thankfully not back up underneath the house. She ran into a pipe out back, and Jim went out there and chased her off, and she was injured and chased her off down the fence line. So she's now our neighbor's problem. So they're like, we did our job, all is well. They came back, sent another guy in who cleaned everything up and like put down a new vapor barrier and disinfected, and the smell didn't get better. In fact, it continued to get worse. If you've ever smelled a dead animal, imagine a dead animal in your home that you can't find and living with that. And imagine it being connected to your ductwork. So when you're laying in bed or you're laying in the bath and you're trying to relax, even with the smell, because you've got candles lit everywhere and you have ground coffee everywhere and you have dryer sheets everywhere, imagine the air comes on and hits you in the face. Just dead animal. So we call them back. We've called them back as soon as it got really bad, and they're like, yeah, we're coming. And they don't get here in time for the HVAC guys to get here, who are completely redoing our ductwork under the house, which was the final step in the process. And they get here and we're like, we're sorry. We thought we got it all. It's still bad. They found another dead possum. Probably the one that injured the mother. Probably the one that was part of the tussle that I heard. Probably the one that the mama killed protecting her babies. Not in the soft ductwork, but in the hard ductwork, nestled up against our air conditioning unit, where all of our air comes from. Dead and disgusting. There were some involuntary physical reactions from a couple of the HVAC guys. They may have uttered the words, "This isn't worth it." But to the guys who stuck it through and fixed that for us and got to that and cleaned it up, thank you. So the 3 weeks that I have been MIA and wasn't recording, and a lot of it has been tied up in dealing with that. And that's 8 minutes, I'm looking at the time, of what's been happening. And those 8 minutes explain Emily's stress purchasing. There's some other stuff too. Let's start with fabrics. Emily also bought a crap ton of Bath & Body Works candles, and they're amazing. Their fall line is out right now, and pumpkin snickerdoodle smells amazing. Apple waffles can almost cover up a dead possum, just in case anybody was wondering. Old stationery. I got my hands on a piece of this. This is Seraphim Fabrics. I wanted to try one of her linen. So I got this, and I am a fan. It is really pretty. So this is Old Stationery. It's a really pretty color. You can see the modeling pretty well there. It's really subtle. Brenda compared it to Lakeside, and I would agree with that, except the modeling in it is more, this one maybe because it's Old Stationery, it's more wrinkly, like a paper. So I don't know if the Old Stationery is the only one that has that modeling effect, or if they're all like that. But it's very lovely. Cassie is doing her pandemic on a piece of Weeks Dye Works Dolphin. So I had to have a little piece because it is the most gorgeous fabric. This is old base, but as long as it's not something huge, I can handle old base. And you can tell by the way it moves that it's old base. So I thought that this would be really good for maybe some little autumn pin keeps or pin cushions or something like that. So this is going in my stash. I also, for the same reason, grabbed myself, because, gosh, it's just such a pretty color, grabbed myself a piece of Havana. And this is Weeks Dye Works Havana. It's such a beautiful color. It actually goes with something over here. So I'll just set this in front of me so that I can show it to you again. I've been trying for a few months to grab a piece of Picture This Plus Ale, a large piece to have in stash. So, because I kind of always like to have a piece of that. 1 2 3 Stitch finally got it in, along with, I think I got this from Jen's Stitching Niche. I never can pronounce that. So I grabbed a piece of Picture This Plus Ale. I think this is a beautiful color for old samplers. I know some people really believe it's too dark, but I love it. I have my 3 Things is done on Ale, and it is Jim's favorite sampler that I finished, and he has repeatedly told me that it's because he loves the fabric so much. This is my Victorian Motto linen. This is the one that I just received. It's a 36 count and it's called Neutral. I downed my subscription for her from a ½ yard to a ¼ yard. So this is just a neutral. It's like a nice ivory, creamy, vanilla color. Really pretty. Last linen, because snatch up all the lakeside, right? This is another one that I really love, and I did not have a big piece of it, so when I saw it go in stock on 1 2 3 Stitch, I grabbed a piece. This is Lakeside Vintage Maple Sugar. I'm just trying to get it where it will show an accurate color. To me, maple sugar is a very, it almost has a purplish mauve-y tone to it, yet it appears as a nice neutral. It's really pretty. Let's see if I can white balance it a little. It's pretty accurate. So there's that. Put this down there. We will move over to something that is totally Brenda and Laura's fault. Ladies, you sent me down a rabbit hole, and I haven't put any of these on projects yet because I was waiting to show them, but they are going to go on projects ASAP. This one is from Crafty Cat. She's on Etsy. I got this from her, and I love that. Let's see if I can get it to focus. I love that there's a little black cat bead. Also from her, she doesn't have any of these left. I don't know if she's going to make some more. But also from her, I got a new scissor fob for my scissors. So these are my favorite scissors. These aren't anything fancy. These are like a $10 pair of scissors that you can get on Amazon. but they're my favorites. I use these every day. And this is the fob that I got from her. She has a couple of these left. And they're all a little different, but the two that are on there are similar beads with a little owl on the end. I mean, it's so pretty. I love it so much. And I've just been, like, every time I cut my thread, it's, you guys know. You know. Karen AZ on Instagram put up a few thread keeps, and they were Halloween. So, of course, I jumped on it, and I left her a little note on there. But I really loved this one, which was a haunted house with a little jack-o'-lantern. So this one is going to go on one of my Halloween pieces. But I do have to say, my favorite ones that I have bought, not because of anything more than presentation, and just, I love the bronze color. Okay, let's show you this one. This is from the Old Needle Shop on Etsy. And look at these hands that are attached. I don't know if she has any of the ones left with the hands, but then there's also stitching. And it's a print of stitching. And I got this one too. I think this one's my favorite. Look at that, look how pretty. So I'll link her down below, and she has buy one and the second one ships for free. So if you message her ahead of time and tell her the two that you're getting, she'll mark one of them to ship free. But if you just go ahead and buy two, because I'm thinking potentially that a few of you will go over and put these in your cart after this video. If you just go ahead and buy two, she'll refund the shipping on one. But feel free to message her. She was really, really fast to respond and super nice. She sent me one of her thread holders for free. It's like a little thank you gift. And she must watch my Flosstube, so she sent me the sweetest little card. I cannot recommend her enough. This was a great purchase. I love it when people like put this much work into presentation. I don't need it, but if I'm having a rough week and I get this like a little present in the mail, it was nice. Charts. Okay. This is the one that goes with this, because this calls for Havana, and I just loved it on the dark fabric. So we'll see if I'm able, I may not be able, because now that I've received it, I may not be able to do all of this on an old base of Havana. It may not happen, because this was in a clearance bin at Stitch and Frog, and when I got it, I realized that this has cross stitch, half cross, lazy daisy, chain stitch, and back stitch is what it says. But I mean, it's satin stitching that looks like freehand embroidery, lazy daisies, and then the house, the white part, is over one tint, and the windows are over one tint. And you kind of have to do it that way, unless you just redo it and figure out a different way. But it's so pretty that way. I think that's how I would do it. But this is the whole chart. And this is Cordelia Ransbury, 1847, by Samplers Remembered. It's really pretty. I grabbed a copy of this, Casting a Spell by Blackbird Designs. They reprinted it. So if this is one that you were wanting to get and you didn't get it before it went out of print, it is now back in print. I don't know that I'll start it right away because now I have it. I think I want to put it in this box. So I need to get my hands on one of those boxes. And I think you can just get that at Hobby Lobby, but I'll read up on that. I got La Di Da Fetish number 3, Mary in England. This was a clearance chart over on Stitch and Frog. And I thought that that would be a nice, small, one color to do. I think it's really cute. Just a tiny little sampler. Because I've learned that with all of the samplers that I have, you definitely want more smaller ones to kind of even up a display wall. Blackbird Designs Flea Market Souvenir. Speaking of reprints, this is a lovely piece. It was done on 3 different fabrics that were stitched together, and I'm definitely not as scared of that now that I've started Berry Ball Sampler. These 2 I bought from Sassy Jacks. I went there because they had on their website that they had Blackbird Designs Casting a Spell, which Kelly just finished, which made me want to have it so that I could stitch it. So I found it on there, put it in my cart, and I thought, well, I can't just order like one like super inexpensive chart from Sassy Jacks. So in their sale bin, their clearance bin, was Jane Bannister, which I've been wanting because Jane Bannister. I've put off buying it because I know when I eventually do it, I'll do it on a darker fabric and I'll change some of those pastels to something a little more me. And I also got this piece, which I had never seen before. This is Sari Ann Marvin, 1838 by Maryland Farm. How beautiful is that? The verse in it says, "My mother, she being dead yet speaketh, what say the happy dead? She bids me bear my load, with silent steps proceed, and follow her to God, till life's an easy dream, and rapture shall depart. She bids me give like her to Christ my youthful heart." I don't know, even though it's a little religious, I don't know that I would change it. There is a fly in here that flew in when Jim and I were eating dinner out on the sun porch, so if you can hear that, I apologize. But I like this. But those shipped, and I got an email that said, "Hey, we don't have Casting a Spell. We'll order it and send it to you later." So I hope I still get it. Is that out of print? Is Casting a Spell with the owl out of print? I don't know. Not Forgotten Farm has an Etsy shop, and I came across this chart, which is Halloween Queen, which I had never seen before. The pictures, as we all know on her charts, are not the best, but it's a little pumpkin-headed girl, and her dress has a weeping willow and a cemetery on it. Why would I not want to stitch that immediately? So I grabbed this. I also got When Pigs Fly, because in my head I'll finish this and make it as beautiful as Olivia made her similar piece, which I think has a witch riding a horse or a donkey in a barnyard, and she put it on a project bag, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Go watch Olivia B, her Flosstube. She shows it in her most recent one, and it's breathtaking. But the one I think I'm going to start for Dark October is the Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom, because he's amazing. Look at him and his pumpkin head and that cat and the giant house, which we know I love. It does have, and I know in history the four-sided, the swastika symbol, in old history, it's more of like a fortune and good luck sign. But unfortunately, I think Nazi Germany has ruined that for all of us, and I won't be able to stitch those on there. So I will be stitching this minus the swastikas. They're a beautiful image, but I can't. FOMO. I got a copy of Autumn Alphabet by Willow Hill Samplings. It's not that pretty looking at it here, but go on Instagram and there's actually an Autumn Alphabet sale happening right now. And it's beautiful. Although I will tell you, everybody that I have seen stitch this has said they wanted theirs to look like the model, but then when they get the threads, they're not like the model. It's like they've changed. This is, I was looking to see if there was a copyright. This isn't new, this has been out. So just know that if you buy the threads, they may not be what you thought they were gonna be. By all the blackbirds. Waiting for the harvest. I mean, it's so cute and dainty, and I need it. Everybody and their brother has already done this, and I wanted to get it before I couldn't. This is the Martha Agnes sampler roll. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. That block of solid stitching where her name is, seeing that stitched up. It says, my time is swiftly passing by, my day of death is drawing nigh. Those youthful hands I now employ, worms of dust will soon destroy. I mean, why did I not have this already? Oh, we're still going. A couple of Scarlet House pieces. This is Crow's Corner, which is a perfect fall piece. I need that done now so I can have it on display. And it looks like it calls for all weeks dye works and just gorgeous colors. I'm excited about this. Scarlet House Penny Pumpkin. What you can't see with it finished in this pillow form, and I tilt it like that's gonna help, is this penny border that is just exquisite. I love a good penny border on something, and I really, really, maybe this. Oh, that would be pretty. This on this dolphin fabric. Yeah, we're gonna put this together right over here. I might put that dolphin fabric in there so I don't forget. Feast of Friendship. Do you know how many times over the years I've put this in my cart, taken it out of my cart, in my cart, out of my cart, in my cart, out of my cart? Because I love the house. I'm wishy-washy about the bowl of fruit. I need to just accept that the bowl of fruit is awesome, and that if and when I stitch it, I might tone down some of the colors and make them a little bit more earthy feeling, and this will be my jam. Okay, we're almost done. There's 5 more, but I saved the best for last. I watched part of, I haven't finished it yet, Brenda and Laura today, and they showed this. They had both bought it, and in fact, Laura had texted me about it earlier in the week, and I was like, yeah, I need that. You suck. Okay, here we go. This is Anna Sophia Burcham, 1871. And Brenda, you're absolutely right, because when I looked at this, I saw the red deer border too, and I love the red deer border. So that in conjunction, all of that border, the bee skep, all the flowers, the birds, I was sold. This is beautiful. I did talk with I talked with Laura about I might try to rechart a different verse, a shorter verse that's maybe not over 1. So if anybody comes up with something awesome, I was thinking maybe some Bob Dylan lyrics. I'm looking for the perfect thing. So if anybody has an idea of the perfect little, put that in the comments below, because I'm trying to figure that out. The next one is one that Hats had already put out, and I've been looking at, and I know Brenda and Laura had already bought it, and I know that Becca with Sambry Stitches is working on this. This is Jane Hardy, 1840. It's a big old house with a big old yard. So, yeah. God, that's pretty. Need that. Olivia made me buy this one. This is a new designer. I'm sure you've seen her by now. Brenda and Laura have talked about her. This is the Whilst Iris Naps Designs, and this is Emily Harbin. And I bought it not only because it's beautiful, it's all stitched in classic Colorworks English Ivy, with the exception of like a little bit here and there, like the flowers and the border. It says, whatever you dislike in another person, take care to correct in yourself. But it looks like it says, whatever you dislike in another person, take care to correct in Emily. Me. Sold. Okay, I'm running low on time. Talked about this in my last video. So my last two are both from the Scarlet Letter. I saw someone working on Sarah Dutnell for Sampler September. And if you've never seen Sarah Dutnell, the picture on here doesn't do it justice. Go look up Sarah Dutnell online, Google it on blogs, look up the hashtag on Instagram. It's a Tree of Life sampler. It's absolutely beautiful. It's from 1818. This is one of the older Scarlet Letters, but this was recharted in 2013. So you get the luxury of an oldie but a goodie, but also a computer done chart. The last one is one that I think might be one of my favorite charts I've seen in a long time. This is a new release from Scarlet Letter. This is Man, Dogs, and Deer. And the border is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It reminds me of a unicorn, a peacock, and a badger. And this might be a start in November or December, or it might be my New Year, new start. I don't know. It's gorgeous. So guys, shake your heads at me. Do what you may. That's my haul. It's shameful, but I have no shame. So there's that. Thanks for bearing with me. I'll be back later to talk more about Dark October and samplers and my thoughts about a no-nonsense November. So start kicking that around in your head. Bye.